We're live. Quinn Amorette Ceramics. But your real name's not Quinn Amorette,
Well,
right?
so Amorette is my middle name.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So my full name is Quinn Amorette Schmalenberg Westenberger,
Nice.
which is a mouthful.
Cool. And local Athens kids, that's what we were just talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that where you got started in ceramics? Or just like the advanced ceramics class?
That's
or whatever?
correct. Yeah.
Nice.
So my senior year, I took like ceramics 1, and then I got really into it. And so the following semester, I was able to take the advanced ceramics class.
Which is like basically just a 2-period class?
Yeah, it was the last 2 periods of the day, and then you had more time. It was kind of just like a free form class. Like you got to work on whatever projects you really wanted to, and then her name was Mrs. Douglas at the time, but she's Ashcraft, Mrs. Ashcraft now, Amy Ashcraft. She was like very laissez-faire with us, I guess.
Cool.
So as long as we were working on something, she didn't really care what we were working on.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of there like for guidance, like if we had any questions about process or anything like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I would assume that most of the kids that take the advanced class, like, took the beginning class, they built a relationship with her, they were good at it, right? And then so it's like kind of, you don't need the directioning anymore. And that's really exciting because I don't know a lot of other examples in a school setting where that dynamic is
There's
present.
like a prerequisite to the advanced class.
But, well, but then even once you get into the advanced class, like where else in high school is like the professor just like, okay, something's sick, like, or not professor, teacher.
Whatever.
But that's just beautiful. I think that's different. That's really cool.
And I think it really did like help kind of like start that creative journey, like kind of having that freedom, not like, oh, this is a set project that you have to meet these criteria or anything like that. Yeah. So I definitely appreciate it. I'm always like shouting her out like, hey, like I will still call her like to this day sometimes like, hey, do you have any advice? I'm having this problem. And yeah, she's just a great person to, have as a mentor for sure. Yeah.
So then did you always, like as soon as you took the ceramics class, were you just like, this ceramics are for me? Like, how did you start the small business? Like, was that right out of high school or like, what was it like for you?
So actually, I kind of did ceramics on and off after, like following after high school, and a friend of mine, her mom was a potter, so she had an old wheel. And so then after high school, like we would kind of make stuff at her house and then drive it to the dairy barn to get fired. Yeah. And then I didn't do it for several years while I was in massage school. So I'm also a massage therapist.
Nice.
So I went to Hawking and got my massage license. Cool. And then working as an LMT for a while, I just
licensed
didn't really
massage therapist.
That's correct.
LMT.
Yeah. Okay. So I just didn't do pottery for a while. I didn't really have access to a studio. I mean, there's like the community studio at the dairy barn, which is where I started firing stuff. But it was like probably like 2019. I got back into it and was just working at the dairy barn studio with all the other member artists. And I actually learned a lot there too. I mean, like I said, I got into ceramics in high school. And then I did take a ceramics class 1 semester at OU because I did 1 year of OU before I went to Hawking.
Yeah.
And that was like a pretty, it was, I wanted to do wheel stuff, like wheel throwing, because that's like my strong suit. It kind of started out more with like hand building and stuff. So like that was not really
But ceramics 1, 2, you're not throwing in one, are you?
So, well, it was kind of like half and half. So like it was like kind of hand building the first half, and then she kind of showed like a wheel demo.
Cool.
But in the OU class, it was like more kind of sculptural. It was similar. It was like more sculptural stuff, and then we kind of got into do wheel throwing towards the end.
Cool.
I don't know where I was going with that tangent.
I think we were just like, I don't know, maybe
how I got the
interjected a
business
question.
started. Yeah. So I started doing stuff at the dairy barn, and then COVID happened. And I was using that community studio, but the dairy barn shut down.
So that community studio, like what, you said members there.
Artist, yeah. So you can be a member to the Dairy Barn Arts Center, and it's a yearly membership. I believe it's still only $50 per year.
Okay, that's cool.
And then you get free gallery entry, so whatever shows they're having in the main gallery, and then you get discounts on workshops and classes, which I actually teach pottery throwing. Yeah, I actually teach
June
pottery
or July?
It's starting July 1st.
Nice.
My next intro to pottery class. It's an 8-week course. It's going to be Tuesdays 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
So every Tuesday for 8 weeks.
Every Tuesday for 8 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's correct. And we cover all the basics, like wheel throwing, starting, trimming, attaching handles, that type of thing, and glazing and everything. Yeah. So you'll walk away with a finished product.
That's cool.
Yeah. So COVID happened, and I wasn't able to work in the studio at all. but I had like a kind of a small batch of work that I ended up selling just like on Facebook. And then there was all that extra stimulus money. So I was able to buy a kiln actually in 2020. Yeah. So as terrible as the pandemic was, that money was kind of like
Spins
a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know when I would have been able to afford a kiln because the entire setup with all the venting and like all the stuff, furniture.
So you just literally have a kiln out
I
at
have
your
a
place?
kiln now.
Like, that's fucking wicked.
So it was like $4,000, like the whole
Jeez,
setup. Yeah,
yeah.
so I would not have been able to do it if it weren't for that money.
Is it like in a garage or something? Like how
So
big?
yeah, so actually my house, I own my house. It's
Nice.
over on the west side, and it was owned by a silversmith. So he had like a whole. The actually original structure on the property was just like kind of this 3-room. Like I don't know if they originally used it for a studio, but he did use it for his silversmithing studio, and it just has like a slab concrete floor,
yeah.
which is safest
Yeah.
to have a kiln on. So there's 3 rooms. So I have the kiln room, I have like a glaze room, and then I have the room where I make the
awesome.
pottery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we went to look at this house, it was 2018, so it was before. But I saw that space, and it's like kind of connected to the house, but you have to like go outside to get to it. So it's kind of nice when I go down there. It's like separating like my house, even though it's at the house, it's like still kind of feels separate.
Yeah,
like,
the space,
as
the
work.
energy. You
Totally.
it's like turn it off and on. Yeah,
Totally,
yeah.
And so I saw that space when we were looking at the house, and that was like the first and only house we looked at. And I was like, well, I'm done. It's a pottery studio.
How lucky, yeah.
And then, yeah, just like 2 years later, I was able to make it happen. So, yeah, again, COVID's terrible, but man, that kind of helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's wicked. That's really cool.
And then I have really awesome parents, and they gifted me the wheel. So,
cool.
Yeah, I had a whole functioning studio.
Yeah. So what's it like being a small business owner here in Athens? Like what do you get like where I see you like at the farmers market every once in a while, you get like the Dairy Barn Art Show. It's where like my sister found you. So you do shows and stuff like that. Do you ever leave Athens or you do everything here in Athens and just social media?
I am mostly I've tried several shows in Columbus, but I do better in Athens sales-wise every single time. So I don't know what it is. I mean, Athens really does show out for their local artists for sure. And we have a lot of like long-standing like arts sales events, like the Athens Art Guild that I'm a part of. That's who works in collaboration with the farmers market to have the artists vendors at the market. And then they also have like a yearly holiday shop it used to be in December. It's now kind of like earlier in November, because then there's Winter Fair in Columbus, which is usually the first weekend of.
Is that all a part of
December.
the arts gallery thing you're talking about?
So the Art Guild, the Athens Art Guild, so they do the holiday shop and then the farmers market.
Cool.
And then it's just kind of like a group of like artists who have been, doing it for like half their lives or whatever. So it's like when new artists get juried in and they join either as like, you can join as a non-selling member and just kind of be a part of that group. And it just kind of like offers like resources and kind of like almost kind of like a mentoring system a little bit for newer artists who are just starting out and they want to sell their work. The farmers market is a weekly event. It's pretty low stakes. Like the fees are pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a weekly opportunity, which is really awesome. And the farmers market is already well attended, so you already kind of have that built-in audience. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the social media thing's obviously like consistent. Like
So that's where I started, actually, because I started selling and making stuff like while we were still kind of in like social distancing phase, right? So I was only able really to sell online. I want to say it was like towards the middle end, like because I got my kiln in July of 2020. So I think by the fall I had an Etsy set up.
Okay.
So I was mostly just like shipping or like people were buying online and then they were doing like local pickup just like on my porch.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely started out mostly online and then that kind of tapered off a little bit. So then I started focusing more on like in-person events. And I do have my own website now that is off of Etsy because I was realizing that I was mostly the sales I was getting from Etsy were mostly coming from like my own Instagram.
Already, yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't.
So then,
really
do they
need
just get a piece or something? Is that like the deal?
Yeah. So
okay.
Etsy would take like fees for each like listing, and then like each transaction. So definitely having my own website is like more cost.
How'd you figure that out? Like figuring, or is it setting up your own website?
I just did Shopify. It's super user friendly, and then I just pay for my my domain name. Yeah, I just pay for my domain name. I think it's just like it renews yearly.
Right.
So it's just QuinnAmoretteCeramics.com. And so I have like a little bio and like, just like about me and stuff. And then I've not had an online update for a while, I will say. I'm going to try and get that done this month before Nelsonville Music Festival.
Nice.
So I'm kind of gearing up for that, trying to get my inventory up for that festival. So
you have a thing out at the Nelsonville Music Festival?
Some art vendors at the Nelsonville Music Festival. That'll be my next big show.
Cool.
I've been doing farmers market more regularly though. So yeah, I was trying to kind of get out there. But yeah, like you asked, I've done a couple different shows in Columbus, but I just haven't had very much luck.
Yeah.
And then like the travel time, and then in Columbus the fees are much more expensive than locally.
Yeah.
And so it just like hasn't been worth the risk for me. So I just kind of have been hanging out in Athens, and
wicked.
I'm
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That what are like the struggles of a small artist business? So like, it's not like inventory or like, I don't know. It just seems like a very just mentorship. Like, what are your kinds of struggles as an small artist in Athens?
Right. Yeah. Well, so starting out, definitely just kind of like figuring out my audience and like figuring out what shows might be good for me, and then also kind of balancing. Like my other work with the ceramic work, because I tried doing it full time for a year.
The ceramics thing?
Yep. And it was just kind of stressful, because it was like that's where all my money was coming from. So the reason I did that was because I was working for a local massage therapy place, and I had like a non-compete contract. So like after I left, it was like I couldn't work within a 10-mile radius of Athens for 1 year.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, like I kind of want to go out on my own anyway. Like I feel confident. When I first started there, I was 20 years old, and I was just like, I just want to come in, do my job, and then leave. I don't want to have to worry about running a massage business and like managing clients and all of that. So I left, and then planned to just do ceramics for the only thing for a full year. And it wasn't that it wasn't fun. Like it felt good, because I would just wake up in the morning and all I had to do was go work in the studio. Mm-hmm. I mean, besides like the social media management and stuff, which I liked doing that anyway. But yeah, I guess that was just like stressful, because again, that was where all my money was coming from, and it kind of like took the fun out of it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like one of my struggles now is like trying to balance time in the studio with like time with my clients, or I also work part-time at Casa Nueva. Oh, cool. So like kind of just balancing like all of the different stuff that I do while still trying to like get into the studio, and like not only get into the studio for production for shows, but like work on fun projects that like I want to do and like are interesting to me, and I'm not just doing it because someone might want to buy this. It's like I like making this and I think it's cool, and that's why I'm making it.
Yeah. Right? And that takes emotional bandwidth. That's like, so then, so you mentioned like your client, like, do you have just like freelance massage therapists? That's like, how could somebody is that like something you're even accepting, like open people, or what about that?
Yeah. So, I just have I just use like Square Booking because it's free. Cool. And then I do have like a Google business profile. So when people Google massage therapy in Athens, Ohio, they can find me, and then like my link is like to my booking site. Cool. And then when I worked for that other business, I just like started a Facebook page, and so I had like my regular clients, they like would like my Facebook page, or just like, word of mouth, like friends kind of like, hey, like this person's gives really good massages, and then I have a Facebook page and I'll like post my availability on there and stuff. So a lot of it was like after I had left, I kind of got some of my old clients back, because they heard that I was practicing again, just like through the grapevine or on my Facebook page. Yeah.
That's cool. A year later, they were like, fuck.
They were like, yeah.
Where's Quinn at?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like kind of just like word of mouth, and also like we had talked about when we first walked in, like we grew up here, so like I already kind of have that advantage, like knowing a lot of people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's wicked. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm just forcing these questions in. But you mentioned like having fun versus like doing production. Like, are there times that you're like, I can't, like, I'm not gonna have fun right now. I just need to pump this. Like, do you still enjoy? Or it is like,
I still enjoy
that's
the
why they call it
production.
work. You know?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I would say like as far as the ceramics goes, like even if I'm in the studio, like I'm pulling an all-nighter to like glaze the rest of the stuff to get ready for the festival that's in 2 days. I still enjoy that, and I lose track of time because like that part doesn't feel like work. Like even if I am like crunch time, right? Like I'm busting out all these pots, whatever. I'm still like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Then when the work part comes in, it's more like the things I find tedious. Like if I am doing online listings, it's like writing the listings, taking the photos. And then if I'm doing an event, it's like packing up my car, unloading, setting up my display, and like tearing down. Like all that stuff feels like work.
Every single thing for the business. Like you are everything when it's just
Totally, yeah. So it's like the stuff in the studio though, like again, like you asked, like even if I'm in production mode and it's like I gotta make this, I decided to make 12 cups that have mushrooms on them because I know people will buy them. It's like that's still awesome. It's still great that I get to do that, you know. Yeah.
That's cool. Have you ever considered trying to like get like restaurants and shit to try to buy from you? Like I feel like they would like be able to buy so much more shit. Like, well, I mean, I don't know, but
like restaurants like to use the dishes. Like, well, so
it was like Donkey. Always every once in a while like shit like that. You know?
I have had some like I had one person reach out to me. This was like years ago at this point because I've been doing this for like 5 years now, like just as my own, as doing business as Quinn Amorette Ceramics. So like I've definitely had a lot of people like reach out to me, like just finding my Instagram or again, like word of mouth, like locally. And there was this person, I can't remember if they were local to Athens or it's like they were planning on opening a coffee shop and they were like, we want all the mugs to be handmade and like different and stuff. And so like we were kind of talking a little bit, but then I think that it didn't end up happening. But I've definitely had people, maybe like a handful of people like approach me like for things like that. But yeah, like actual like more like restaurants, I feel like my work would make more sense in like a small like cafe or like coffee shop or something. So yeah, I've had like one inquiry on that, maybe one or two. But yeah, just like kind of never followed through. Like I do custom and wholesale orders, but the wholesale orders are sometimes difficult for me just because I'm bad about deadlines. It's like...
Which is like part of the entrepreneurship thing. It's like nobody's there telling you like, hey, you need to get this done right now. How have you figured that out? Like all along, have you just like fucked up and kind of like, oh, don't do that again?
Yeah. So the issue with ceramics is like something can go wrong at every point of the process. So it's like, okay, I throw this mug and then like the handle dries too fast and it cracks away from the pot, or like it gets, damaged in the bisque fire or something because it wasn't dry enough. So then, when it goes into the kiln, moisture expands and then it explodes.
Fire. Is that like
is a bisque or biscuit. So it's like the if you're doing like a 2 firings, so like it's the initial firing and then the pottery that comes out of the initial firing, which is a lower temperature than the glaze fire, is called bisqueware. So it's not going to dissolve in water anymore like what is called greenware. So that's pottery before it's fired is called greenware. So you can still recycle that clay and reuse it and rehydrate it. But once it's fired to the bisque, you cannot reuse that clay anymore. That is its structure at that point, but it's still porous that it can accept like the glaze to the surface of the pot, and then you fire it a second time to a higher temperature, and then that is what forms like the glass surface that is the glaze, right? So what was I? Lost my train of thought there.
Talking about like managing how something could go wrong at every stage.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So, so because of that, it makes wholesale orders and custom orders a little bit more difficult because it's like I got to make several backups just in case something bad happens to the other ones. Exactly. So I did a couple wholesale order. I've done several wholesale orders for Foundation for Appalachian, Ohio, and it's like their logo stuff. So I've done like logo mugs, ornaments, and magnets for them. And it's like, it's mostly just they give gifts to like their like
employees and
donors
shit?
and
Oh,
employees
okay.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, yeah, they're like as like prizes if they have like, oh, like employee of the
Yeah,
year
that's
or
a
something,
good foot in
different
the
stuff.
way with businesses, though. That's like
Totally.
turn it around on that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, but the problem with that is like, I still owe them like 4 mugs because my last batch, it was like, I made backups, but especially with like more precise, like the logo has to be very precise. So like if there's any kind of like too much glaze running, or like, you know, maybe I applied the glaze too thickly and then it's like kind of like bleeding together. So it's like they want the logo to look very precise.
Yeah.
So just like little things like that.
That's what makes that difficult and not as
Correct.
fun as like, I want to bust out some mushroom cups.
Exactly, because I don't have to. And then also like measuring, like I'm getting better at making exact sets. And like there are ways, obviously, like techniques to like measure them without having to use, you know, like there's these things called calipers that you can just, like exactly. So, but yeah, making a whole set of items that look close enough alike that it is what the client wants, or, you know, whatever, is the part. That is something of production that I find tedious.
It's like not fun again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stay away from the not fun shit. Do
I
the
know,
fun shit.
yeah.
Do the least amount
but then
of
it's
non-fun
like,
shit.
oh man, like that's like $1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to, again, like balance like the fun production stuff with like, oh, okay, this wholesale order is gonna like, I'm gonna be set for like 2 months or something, you know. So yeah, it's just definitely like about finding balance with it for sure. So
That's weird. Have you ever considered leaving Athens? Or you just always kind of, well, fuck, you just said you buy your home like
bought
right
a
after.
house-
Well, wait,
it was
when did you say-
2018.
So 5 years after high school?
I guess so,
Fuck, dude.
yeah.
That's kind of fast.
Yeah. So I'm definitely super fortunate to have like a family who, like my grandparents both worked for OU, and so they are definitely very like financially stable, and they were able to co-sign a mortgage for me.
That's wicked.
So I definitely, you know, because so many people, I was 22 when I bought that house, and everyone's like, wow.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
even too.
no,
When you're, yeah.
Before you get too impressed, you know, I just, you know, but like not a lot of people have,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, there's
that-
also nothing wrong with getting help. Like, fucking.
That's
You know what I mean? Fuck.
That's true.
That's
true.
awesome. Sounds like you got a good setup.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, I definitely knew like pretty early on that like I didn't really have a desire to leave Athens.
Yeah, cool.
I enjoy the community. I like being I mean, I grew up here, so I have roots, right? My family's here. My dad grew up here, and my grandparents still live here, and like actually more recently, well, I guess it's been 10 years now. His oldest sister moved back because her daughter had a daughter, so she's got her daughter and her granddaughter here now. So they all live here. So she had lived in Silver Spring for like, you know, decades at
Silver
that
Spring?
point. Yes.
Is that not?
Silver Spring is that Virginia or that's Maryland? Maryland.
Okay,
She lived in
okay,
Maryland
cool.
for a while. And then she moved back here, and you know, obviously she grew up here too. So yeah, I've got like several different family members here and stuff, and yeah, I just like it. So, you know, anytime I would like go on any type of like trip or like vacation or something, I'd always like after 2 weeks I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go home. I'm very much a homebody,
Take
and
me
I
back
like
to the
my
Brits.
comforts,
Yeah.
you know.
Have you ever just lived like kind of uptown, like west side of Athens?
I mostly have lived on the west side always. So my parents' house is out in Meigs County, so
cool.
country life. I homeschooled for elementary school, and then, like I said, I did online school for my junior year of high school. And so living out there was like kind of different, and definitely I didn't appreciate it as much as I do
The
like
rural
now.
part of Mex? Yeah.
Yeah, so just like being out there and being like separated from like my friends once I went to public school in 7th grade, which obviously I had friends before that. I'm just some weird homeschooled kid who doesn't have friends. Because there was like a big homeschool group when I grew up, like at the public library anyway.
Cool.
When I moved into town, I lived on like just Central Avenue, and then I actually did live out on Richland, so like that was like, but then other than that, I lived on the west side. I lived in Walker, I lived on Central again, and then now I live on Courier, just like down, kind of in the holler down there by the bike path. So yeah, I haven't lived a whole lot of places, but I don't have a problem with it. So it's just one of those things. Like I would just kind of knew from an early age, like, I don't really care. I don't really care to leave, so I might as well stop, wasting my money. on rent and like, you know, put it into an investment home. And now it's like I have the studio there. So it's like I have part of it is like my workspace. So that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, it's awesome. Outside of like massage therapy and ceramics, like what's popping with you? You frequent any local businesses here in Athens who you want to shout out?
So I actually work part-time at Casa Nueva.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. My parents actually met working at Casa. So
Wow.
it's kind of like it's always kind of been a part of my story. And I kind of, you know, like with ceramics and massage, it's like the income is kind of dependent on other people, right? So like if people are booking or if people are buying stuff, so it's kind of,
Feast or famine.
It's not consistent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what, like I feel like I need to get another part-time job just to kind of have like a steady paycheck. And I was looking around, but I knew Alicia from Casa, who, you know, she's like basically the HR person, plus cook, plus, you know, all that stuff. Like she does so much there. And she had told me for years, like, if you ever want to work here, if you want, you know. So I'm kind of a Nepo baby over at the Casa. Yeah, so like, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't go out a lot anymore.
Yeah. I get that.
I'm just kind of like, but if I do, I'm at Casa.
Yeah, cool.
So Casa definitely, and I love going into Village Bakery. Village
Shout
Bakery is
out.
actually owned by one of the earlier worker owners, Bob O'Neill. So like going in there, and one of my very good friends works there as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are a couple. What other local businesses? Oh, my friend Joey Green owns Magic Tattoo. So
Magic
I get
Tattoo?
lots of my
Cool.
tattoos there. Her husband Tom Green has
When'd you
also
get your
worked
first
on
tattoo?
me. Where did I get my first tattoo?
No, like when? How old were you?
I was 18.
So
Yeah.
like as soon as
so
you
like
could.
right, yeah. So as soon as I could. It was just a little tiny line drawing. So I kind of started out small and then worked my way up.
Nice.
But now, yeah, I get pretty much all of my work done from those two. Cool. So yeah, another little art business.
That's wicked.
Those are just off the top of my head, I guess.
Yeah, fun. No, that's cool. That's cool. That's what's up. Nice. I was like trying so hard to get a female to come on the podcast. So thanks for being the first one.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah. So how did you start doing this? Like, is this a certain project, or it's just kind of something that you?
Yeah, I mean, I started to get into podcasting during college, but then COVID hit. So like I was using that little podcast studio in Schoonover.
Okay.
And I mean, nothing related. Like I was an accounting major, and
gotcha.
so it was just like.
It was just kind of like a passion project.
Yeah,
for you.
like I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I like talking. I'm a communicator, and so then, but then like kind of like I had access for free because I was a student at Schoonover, but then I like graduated and I leave, and I always thought about it, but I just kind of talk. Right? I just kind of talk. So I talked about it and talked about it and talked about it.
I know. I'm like trying to answer your questions specifically. I'm like, oh, well, first you have to know this backstory, and then you have to know this thing. And wait, what was I talking about?
Yeah.
So.
But like, so then I just kind of like talked about doing something, and then I just heard like somebody talk about micro podcasts and how just like how those could, well, kind of what this is, like micro to the community. Like it's like, for sure I'll talk to some like alumni, like the university kind of is the extension to the rest of the world because it's like through Athens,
Totally.
like, you know, so there's an angle. Like I haven't really, I'll have my first person out, they're not at OU anymore, but they actually ran the Innovation Center. And it's like a girl who works here is like grandma, and she like recommended it. It is really cool.
That's cool, yeah.
So I'm excited to get into OU, but
do you work for the Innovations?
No, I
just you use the space.
I have so like this is the studio space, but then like my day job's just like around the corner right there. So we have like the remotely, but we have like some space here. It's like
I gotcha.
Kind of
like
a little bit,
space,
a little bit bigger than here. We got a couple desks in there because one of the kids that I graduated with from Athens, like we went to Hawking first and then OU, but both got accounting degrees, and so now we work at the same company. We started at different places right after college, but then he came over to the company that I work at, and so now it's like cool to work with somebody from you know what I mean, like for the same thing. And so
it's funny how like I see different people who went to Athens High School and like that maybe didn't even associate in high school, but like we all knew each other because it's small enough that everybody knows each other. But then like seeing them kind of form connections like post grad, you know, like just it's like sometimes interesting to see like who is friends now or who is still friends.
Because it's just like,
you know, it's just kind of random.
Yeah,
it's like,
such far spectrums.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly. Like I'll see some people getting like some Athens people getting engaged to each other. And I'm just like, wait, did you guys even ever talk in high school? It's funny. Yeah, no, but I love it. I love seeing that. So.
Yeah. And then one day I just finally did it. I just finally talked about it, and then it was just kind of like it just like I don't know, like it kind of fell into it. Like they were like, hey, well, we can make this happen, and just like a couple phone calls, and but then like even when I got the studio, like it sat in here, like this room sat empty for a month.
Yeah.
And then like I brought in like the IKEA furniture.
This is all your stuff.
Well, yeah, basically, and then like I brought in like some IKEA furniture. And I was like, okay, I did something. You know what I mean? Just like so because nobody was there telling me what to do. But
yeah, you're just kind of building the space like slowly, and that was definitely similar to like both of my self-run businesses. It was just kind of like, well, first like I started out with 1 6-foot table at the farmer's market, and I've got like a few shelves to put stuff on, and then it like slowly grows, you know. So yeah, I definitely can relate.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know though, but I think now that I've like got some episodes, like it's encouraging, you know, because at first like I was just like reaching out to people over and over and over, and like they would either read the message and like kind of, but I didn't take it personal, but I was like, fuck man, like it's way harder to get somebody. But then literally I think it was just like first 2-3 episodes, like as soon as there was somebody, because I was like messaging people like no posts and 3 followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I get that.
Well, so I guess I'm curious because to be honest, I didn't have a chance to really like listen or like look into like your podcast at all before I came in here. Yeah,
okay.
So how many episodes do you have?
This will be the 12th.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
Started posting like about a month ago. It's been like literally, well, because that's what, like I recorded the first one, but I sat on it so even like had the room for a month.
Yeah.
Took a month to get somebody in here, had somebody in here,
and
then I still sat on that recording for a month. I was just afraid to post it.
I have to wait.
Yeah, and so because
for some reason, yeah.
Well, I convinced myself it's like, oh Tyler, you need to get 10 in the chamber so that you can just do a release schedule, and now you're ahead of time, and it's like, you know, I kept, but then like it took so long, and then I got the second one, and then when I did the second one, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like, here's the first one, here's the second one, and I was like, I'm gonna leave the room and I'm gonna just blast out there, and that's what I do now.
Do you have a release schedule at this point, or it's just kind of like, I got this taped, like let me put it out there?
Yeah, well, maybe it's gonna like pull back a little bit because my problem, or like a recurring problem, is that like I'm just like extreme. I keep trying to do that too. Fuck it, whatever. Just gonna have to listen to the Power Tribe.
We have our donkey. So shout out local business.
Shout out Donkey. Yeah.
Shout out Donkey. We have our donkey coffees here. So if you're hearing the ice, that's what that is.
Power Tribe, by the way. That's all I drink from there. When
So
you're like
good.
iced vanilla Power Tribe, I was like, this girl
Let's
knows.
go.
This girl knows. It's fun.
Well, thank you for the drink.
Yeah, for sure. And but yeah, so then so now kind of the release schedule has just been, well, whenever I record the episode, but like this week is an example of like I fucked up this week. I shouldn't have scheduled 5. I scheduled 5, but then like
but then you can like release them slowly, like you said.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna. Like maybe one day. Like maybe when, I don't know, maybe just someday. I said that I was just gonna rip 50. Like I just like came up with the number 50. I was like, I'm gonna get 50.
I'm gonna
like
have 3 people in here a day.
Well, they said that like most podcasts don't post 3, and the most that make it past 3 don't make it past 10. You know, we're through that. Shout out to the statistics. But I don't know. Like right now, I still am like just kind of uploading them. But like maybe. I don't, like maybe someday. There's just kind of no point. Like
meaning
because
like people don't like follow through after 3 episodes or something, or like it.
I think it kind of fizzles out, or like maybe they just lose interest. But I guess the reason that that it's so time sensitive to me, like the reason I'm not sitting on something is because there's so little content for somebody to go look at, right? Like something that somebody said to me, they were like, "Man, it's just turning into a cannabis podcast," because I had like maybe like 3 or 4 people out
really
of the 12.
Right now.
Yeah, well, and I think so like that was something somebody said is like, "Man, you're just like, is this just a cannabis podcast now?" But I think it's a testament to that community because they're so like firmly handing me directly, like they're passing me directly off to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and so like just that has been really beautiful, but you know, to the points like once there's enough content. It's like, I want to just get everything out there so that when somebody comes to the page, like, they can kind of find their thing. Yeah. Because, like, I get not everybody's going to want to listen to a cannabis company's podcast or, like, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't find a reason to, like, I had one of my football coaches on from Athens, you know, and it's like, if you're not a sports person or whatever, you can't relate, you don't understand. So, like, I want to get the wide range of shit out there to, like, listen, there's something for everybody. There like, and that's the point of Athens. You know, like, that's what Athens is up. Like, come here and fucking, like, figure out what you're about and then fucking be that, and that's okay, man. Like, you know, just be who you are, you know?
Well, and that's definitely speaking to, like, my experience, like, meeting people who aren't from Athens, and, like, when they find out I've grown up here, they're like, oh, you're so lucky. Like, I have been, you know, even people who have traveled, like, around the world, they're like, man, there's just no place like it. There's no place like Athens.
It's great.
Yeah, and it's wonderful. And so I kind of had to get out of my head a little bit about it, because I feel like growing up in a town like this, it's like you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had a lot of, like, friends and acquaintances in high school who were like, man, I can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so, like, I sometimes took it personal. You know, I was like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah. You know, I bring that up on the podcast a lot. I talk about how there's this, like, narrative once you get into, like, high school that it's like, well, like, one of the narratives. It's not the only narrative, but there's a narrative of, like, the successful people get college degrees and go find opportunities.
And they go live in cities and stuff.
Yeah, man. And so that fucking plagued me. You know, it did. You know, I was like, I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be, you know, it's just, that's the reality. And so then it got me. So I felt like I was trapped until I left. And once I left, I realized, like,
wait a minute.
fucking what, like, I was like, I wasn't trapped. Like, that's where I want to be. And then I had to even work through that of, like, it's not a problem. But I mean, I guess I don't want to say I'm an adult, but, like, as more mature than I was in high school, like, I just understand all of those projections are just empty, you know?
Totally.
But like, what really clicked for me one day is, like, I saw some kid, I don't even know who it was. I saw some kid's social media post, and he was in, like, a side-by-side. You know, those, like, razor things people take, like, in the woods and shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was, like, one of those, like, big off-road vehicles. And it was, like, them standing next to that on the top of, like, some hill that was just overlooking the rolling hills. And he said, like, some people grow up here and never want to come back. I'm not one of those. And I was just like, I just needed somebody to admit it. Like, I don't fucking care what you want, brother. I'm never leaving here.
Real.
And fucking, I was just like, it just all made sense for me. And I was like, fuck it.
I remember the moment, actually, that I realized, so West End Cider House, another business. Yeah, my partner works there. And my dad built, you know, the newer back patio, and I know the distiller, Kelly Sauber, he knows him from high school. So Kelly Sauber is a local Athens kid, you know? Yeah. So, I remember I was, like, on the back patio, like, man, like, I like it here.
Like, you know, up the stairs you're talking about?
Yeah, around back. Like,
I listened to some Celtic music back there.
Yep, every Thursday. Every Thursday, there's Celtic night. Yeah. But I don't know, I was talking to this kid this was, like, 10 years ago now, right? Almost. I'm turning 30 this year, which is kind of
27, somewhere behind. Yeah.
What? So I was talking to this guy who he is, like, I think he was originally from, like, Cincinnati or Cleveland or something, but he had traveled all around. Yeah. And he was, like, firmly like, this is the place, man. Like, I've never been a place like this before. I want to stay here. And I was like, kind of an emotional thing for me because again, like, this kind of, like, stigma, like, oh, like, you grew up in a small town. Like, you should want to leave and, like, explore.
They look down on you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's definitely, like, that stigma there. So I definitely struggled with that because I was like, it's not that I don't want to, like, see the world and, like, travel and stuff, but it's like I said, like, I'm a homebody and, like, I like this community and I have a place in it. And I understand if, like, it's not for everybody, you know, like, definitely. But no hate, no shade, right? Yeah, so, like, there's no need to have that mindset about it, which I have experienced a lot. Like, oh, fuck this place. Or, like, you know, meeting OU students who are coming from, again, like, a city or something. They're like, you live, like, you what? Like, they act like people don't live here. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, this is just, and I think that's a mindset a lot of them have. Oh, this is a college town. Nothing else happens here. Yeah. When in reality, it has a very thriving art scene. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, you know, like, tourism, like, from the Hocking Hills and, like, this, you know, this region, and people come down to Athens to, like, visit and, like, shop around and stuff. Right, like, all the summer
Halloween,
festivals,
which, by the way, Halloween's, like, the most overblown thing about Athens forever.
Halloween has really toned it down, though.
Yeah.
Since, like, you know, like, 10 years ago, like before
2010,
pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So
well, that would have been when we were in high school.
Halloween is not what it used to be. But yeah, so like definitely like it's unique having, because Athens, I fully admit Athens would not be what it is if it weren't for the university.
Certainly.
Because it brings that diversity and that money into, the community and stuff. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with OU and its students, because there are some really awesome people who come here for school and really not awesome people who come here. So my experiences with those, it's just like, why do you live here? There's nothing to do here.
Especially, like one of the like most Athens stories ever, a lot like when they bring in cops or whatever, just like extra police force for these big fest weekends, like they're bringing in people from out of town to enforce all this shit there, or are a bunch of these people that come out of town. And most of the time when you learn about some like disrespect or just
it's some out-of-towner
that just fucking came there to do nothing but burn the town down anyways. And it's like, so like you see those experiences of just like cops fucking like running the horses right up on the fences, like get back. But then literally, like I have seen before a kid that was so inebriated he could not walk, but he had 3 friends around him that were trying that like under each arm, and another one kind of like keeping his feet, whatever.
Yeah. They're from like Bowling Green or something.
But so like this kid could not function, way too fucked up, and like right in front of a cop, like his friends like spill him because his friends are fucked up too, and the police didn't do anything.
My God.
And so then like my friend group watched the interaction. So then we go up to the cop afterwards and we're like, hey dude, how the fuck did you not arrest that guy? And he's like, listen man, he's like, there were people there taking care of him. Were they a little tipsy themselves too? But it's like, was he a harm to himself or to somebody else? It's like, I'm not out here trying to cause problems, bro. They're trying to take this kid home. So, and just that like grace, because this was an Athens police officer, and like just for that mindset of like, I don't want, like that even. Like the police force having that mindset of just like, I'm not out here to be like, hey, drunk kid, like fucking, like I respected that they weren't like, which dude, it would just get so fucking old in this town. You wouldn't ever stop putting people in the back of a cop car. If you know what I mean? If you got angry at the drunk people. But so I just appreciated that it was like, dude, I'm not out here trying to fucking cause problems, man. Like I don't want that. And it was just so authentic. And that interaction of just like, man, a policeman just that grace, like that was beautiful.
For the most part that they're there to protect people.
Yeah.
So, we won't get into all that. But yeah, that's the point, right? Is so that they are there in case something really bad happens.
For sure.
So just like keeping an eye out. But that's again like the other part of it is like the community kind of keeping an eye out for each other too. But yeah, like you said, like the disrespect, it's like coming from people who don't really have connections here.
Yeah, they didn't respect the town sober. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, exactly. So.
What do you think that stigma is? I bet you. I mean, I don't fucking know anybody in high school. Do you think that shit's still around? What do you think would start to change people's mind around here? Or do you think there's always just going to be these snobby people that are like, you have to get a degree and you have to go to the opportunity?
I think that more and more, the idea that you have to have a college degree to be successful is
just dissipating itself.
Yes, I think it is because. I know plenty of people who have not gone to college and they are running successful businesses.
Fuck yeah.
And I think that it's just something that, like, kind of with the times, I mean, like, we're definitely experiencing a kind of a decline in, like, what you said, you're a finance major, right?
Accounting.
So, accounting, yeah. So it's like people can't fucking afford to live, and who can afford a college degree anymore, right? And then you get buried in debt and student loans and stuff. So it's like, really, the smart thing to do is to not go to college.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing,
Totally.
Because, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's hard. It's hard for me to say this, and, like, I'm sorry, OU, but I do. It depends on the week, for me to be like, what the fuck did I go to college for? It's like, because, like, all it did was, like, provide evidence to somebody that I was like able to do. So same thing that your high school degree, but like 100% of my job was learned on the job. Like, yes, they taught me what an asset, a liability, and what is equity, A equals L minus E. They taught me this shit, and certainly like there is a technical component to like my career, but it's just like if you would have just gave me 4 years to like practice, at the end of those 4 years, like I would have been a lot better than like the first day coming out of college, and then it's like, so then now I'm like 4 years behind, but then that exponentially puts you, you know what I mean? And so
it's like the theory of it, like, I don't know, because like I said, I went to OU for 1 year because I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to go to get a traditional 4-year bachelor's degree, yada yada, and it just didn't click with me. And so I was there for pre-social work because I knew I wanted to be in a helping profession. And then I was like, man, like I was done with my first year, and I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to go back. And I had a friend who was like going to she was like, well, I'm going to Hawking for a massage, you should check it out, you'll probably like it. And I ended up loving it.
Wicked.
Like
my sister, maybe that's where, because she would have been right behind you. She went to Hawking.
No, we were in together actually.
Yes,
and so that was like kind of like when I saw her at the Dairy Barn, and then later she came and got a massage from me, and I was like, we did this together, did we not? Yeah, definitely the connection there. And it was, again, like, I mean, I've been practicing since I was 20 now, so it's like almost been 10 years. So it's probably almost been 10 years since I saw her.
Yeah.
So that was funny, like kind of reconnecting there, and I was like, I feel like I know you. But my first was like, we went to high school together. She was like, well, we went to massage school together.
Well,
and
I didn't put it together, like, well, because whatever. My sister just mentioned that you look familiar and stuff, and then. But when you mentioned the massage therapy thing, I was like,
oh, wait a minute. Yeah, exactly. So multiple layers of connection there, and that's just Athens, right?
100%.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I went to Hawking too straight out of college or high school. I didn't even take an ACT, SAT. I just like. I was like
the ACT for you, but yeah.
I didn't even aspire to think that I was like, I don't even know. Like, I thought I was an idiot, you know? Like, I was
I was never academically inclined, so that's...
I mean, I was, but like I didn't care about the work. Like, it just, I could do it, but I didn't have to put a lot of effort into it. And so like I learned the wrong lessons of just like fucking whatever. So, So then I don't know, like I just never took the ACT, SAT, and then literally was like, oh well, if I didn't take, like I can't go, I'll go to Hawking for whatever. I took some like gen eds, but you know, to the college debt point, to any local kid in the area, again, sorry OU, this is my track. I got 60 college credits for $5,000 worth of student loans.
Period.
And transferred those 60 credits to OU. And on day one, 60, you know, like for $5,000, let me tell you, I didn't leave OU with $5,000.
That's right.
But I mean, again, worth it. And thankfully, like I mean, specifically to my degree in accounting, it did provide me a career opportunity that provided me the financial stability to be able to pay back the debt. And, you know, half of it came from my family and half of it came from the federal student government.
Right.
And, so, you know, again, kind of in your situation, very grateful that I had family to support me through that. Totally. I wouldn't have made it through college if my family didn't support me through it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's just like hard because, but I would advocate everybody. Like, even if you know the degree you want at OU, I mean, it's just, if you could get the scholarships and offset the cost, but it's just like, if you are taking care of yourself and like, it's just, gosh, Hawking College is such an incredible tool. And then I got to transfer to OU without an SAT, ACT, you know, it's like just, because I think the reason I didn't take it is just because I I had a part-time job at Kroger, like during high school, junior, senior year. As soon as I got a license, I got a job, but it was just like, well, it was like $130 for the fuck that. You know, like it was just also everything was always short-minded. Like I was like, you know, I'm not going to take an SAT, ACT. I didn't even realize, you know, and then it's like, fuck, well, I can't go to OU. I like literally talked to the guidance counselor. Whatever, it's like my guidance counselor had to tell me, like, you can't apply. Like I was like, fuck.
Well, shit. Then having that option too, like not having like a local, like you were saying, like a local kid, like who was maybe like having to look out for themselves. It's like, Hawking,
not uncommon.
Hawking is like, exactly. Yeah. Hawking is like a better option. And I also do think that, like, again, going back to like the stigma thing of like staying in Athens, like growing up here, just like staying in a small town period. It's like, there's that stigma like with going to a trade school or like a trade college. And it's like, listen, those are people who have jobs offers right out of school. Yeah. And like a lot of them
Tri-County, man. I went to Tri-County.
Yeah, like for a massage, like, you know, like I charge, like at this point I charge $70 per hour for a massage.
That's awesome.
That's $70.
Yeah.
You know, like that's 70. Even though I'm not working full time doing massage, it's like that's $70 an hour. Even if I'm not working full time, I'm still making $35 an hour plus tips. So, you know, and I went to Hawking for 2 years and again, like, like the whole thing was like $12,000 or something. So I think that I do think the idea that 4-year college everyone should is kind of dying away,
which is only going to help the case to like,
it's like we need people in the workforce like that, like we do, and I think that looking down on those people, like, is not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah.
So shout out Hocking College.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all got their issues, right? all establishments, or not establishments, whatever, institutions like that. Yeah, all those institutions, they have their problems, but I really enjoyed going to Hocking College, and I had some really great instructors there, and
awesome.
I'm still using my certificate 10 years later. So, yeah.
What was that? Was that like a lot of anatomy classes and shit?
Yeah, anatomy class every semester.
Who was your anatomy professor? Did you ever have Emily Boyer?
We only had, there were only two for the massage program. There were only two. It was Mark Cullen and Jeannie Faulkner. And so Mark did most of the, like, he did the anatomy and physiology, and then we also had a myology class, like summer session. It's the study of muscles. So we went through every single fucking muscle in the body, and like, you know, like its origin, insertion, and its action.
ATP. I'm just gonna use buzzword.
Anatomy, physiology, whatever. Yeah. So that was like that kicked my ass, but I cared about it, and that was the other thing too. Like, I've always been a very like tactile person by nature. I mean, going like, you know. I mean, I did dance, and then like the clay, and then massage. So like I've always been interested in like interested in like how the body moves, and then also like, you know, like touch, like all that stuff. So like that all just kind of like tied in for me. But yeah, so yes, anatomy every semester plus the myology. So I had anatomy and myology like the summer session, because it was only 4 semesters. Like it was, and we went through the summer. So it was like we ended up graduating in the winter.
Yeah, okay.
And then, you know, then it was like there were like the massage, what you might call like a lab. So like when we like actually practiced on each other.
Yeah.
And then Jeannie kind of taught some like alternative therapy classes. So like we did like aromatherapy, like essential oil stuff, like more like certain like spa treatments. She's also an Ayurvedic practitioner, which Ayurveda is it translates to the science of life. So it's actually India's like ancient medical practice. So a lot of it kind of goes along with like proper diet, but it also involves like body work and like they do a lot with like hydrotherapy. So like, you know, maybe like ice, or like there's this whole book that I got that she suggested is called My Water Cure. So it's like kind of using different therapies like with water to kind of like heal different like, you know, ailments and stuff. Cool. So like so it's like also, you know, like again like alternative therapies like to the West at least, you know, but it's like Western massage and body work is very much based on like Eastern practices. So like we definitely, you know, it's like similar to like yoga, like you know, we have Western yoga teachers, but it's like it's all taken from like India and like, you know, over there. So it's like it's changed, but, you know, like still kind of remembering to like respect those practices and like be aware that that's where it's coming from, you know what I mean? So
like, so then you feel like it was pretty applicable, like they didn't stuff in a bunch of extra shit that didn't need to be there? And
I there were 2 tracks. So you could do the associate's degree, which was like you also have the gen eds, and then I did the certificate because I was like,
which is even trimming more.
I don't want to take math and science. Like I was just kind of like, I was like,
for fucking what?
I mean, exactly. So I was like, let me take the classes that are gonna matter, and like let me like from day one, like I'm gonna be doing what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah.
And cool. That really helped. That's just how my brain works. So like that really helped me kind of. Yeah. And I think that's why I like ceramics so much, because it was like in high school, that class from day one, we were working with clay. Yeah. So immediately we weren't just like talking about the theory of it. Or
that's
like
kind of what I mean about
clay history.
That's exactly what I mean about OU.
It's all like abstract.
It's not that I didn't need to learn that. It's just like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. Why didn't I just go do what I needed to do? God, that's
so it's like you got all the information, but then you get into like a real world situation or circumstance. You're like, well, I have all my training, but I've never used it before. So now I got to figure it out in this setting. So I think like maybe if traditional 4-year colleges kind of prepared their students more for like real world. I mean, I guess that's what internships are for, but not every degree
an internship
has that.
I mean, I think OU in the college business, because all I can speak is from personal experience. So like in the college business, you did have to have a internship to graduate, but I mean, an internship could have been like a 6-week fucking program. You're in school for 4 years, and you, like this 6-week thing. I don't know, because again, it's like, you know, oh, you did it. They did a great job. Like, obviously they did a great job, or I wouldn't have been prepared, or like whatever. But it's like at some point you have to take responsibility. You could lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink because you're thirsty. It's like, oh, you could have gave me everything, but until like Hawking College could have gave you everything, but until you fucking like internalized it, and exactly. So it's like I don't know, man.
Clients or like working with clients or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's back and forth, love hate for sure. It's like everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's different dynamics to it, but yeah, excellent.
Yeah, beautiful.
Did you have any other questions?
No, but I just want thanks for the cups. This is super sick.
Yay! Excited thank you for the support. Yeah. I hope you like them.
So Quinn Amorette Ceramics is your Instagram. Is there anywhere else people the website Quinn Amorette?
QuinnAmoretteCeramics.com is my website, and then I also am on Facebook just under the same name, so Quinn Amorette Ceramics. You can find me at the farmers market. I'm actually going to be doing, I don't know when you're posting this episode.
Today?
Oh, wow. I will be at the farmers market this Saturday from 9 to 12. It's in the parking lot of the community center under the solar panel, so I'll see you there. It should be a really good Saturday. It doesn't look like it's going to rain, so fingers crossed for that. Yeah. And then you can also, I have a small selection of my work at Kindred Market and Bleeding Heart Boutique. Another shout out to my friend Hannah Morgan, who owns Bleeding Heart Boutique. That's uptown, like across from Domino's, basically, like next to like Passion Works. Yeah. So I have some stuff there as well. Cool. So that's mostly like what I have like retail wise, but otherwise you can go to my website.
And then the pottery class, when is that?
Oh yes, that is starting July 1st. So you can go online to the Dairy Barn's website and find under education the classes and workshops, ceramics, Pottery 1, Intro to Wheel Throwing, and it's going to be Tuesday evenings, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And it starts July 1st, running 8 weeks. So beautiful. Come join me, please.
Appreciate your time so much.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you.
You as well.
Yay.